Welcome to Deleted Saves. On this episode, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past on the SNES. There are times when you just arrive a bit late to a game franchise. And the game you arrive on could be the game that completely changes your opinion of that whole franchise. For me, that game was The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. During the heyday of the NES era, I was content to let the Legend of Zelda games pass me by. I'd favored the shorter-term, fast-paced games that were the stock and trade of that game generation. Your sci-fi action fantasy games, your themed ninja games, terrible arcade ports, what have you. I had first seen The Legend of Zelda and The Legend of Zelda 2 at a friend's house. They were his dad's games, more complex and mature games. A different sort of mature compared to the Leisure Suit Larry games the man played, but that's a different story. I tried both games for a few minutes and decided I simply didn't like them. They were too complicated, and I died easily, and quite a lot. And that would be that. But in 1992, the North American release date for A Link to the Past, my opinion had changed. I don't recall exactly what about this particular game changed my mind. Maybe it was the big push in the Nintendo-centric games press that went all in on promoting this now flagship franchise. Maybe it was my own evolving taste in related media, fantasy fiction novels mainly, that had grown in complexity that prepared me to accept the gospel of Link into my own life. Or maybe it was just time for a game with more depth. Whatever the catalyst, by the time the game had debuted, I was ready. I was quickly enraptured by the quest received from a fallen uncle who, in retrospect, got almost no screen time, to rescue the Princess Zelda from an evil magician seemingly bent on overthrowing a kingdom of Hyrule. Hyrule at the time seemed endless, although it was likely composed of no more than 20 to 24 separate screens in total, jam-packed with enemies, caves to explore, and dungeons to get turned around in while searching for the sacred knickknacks of princess rescuing. There were mysteries to uncover and people to chat with, all in glorious 16-bit animation. And halfway through the game, a whole second world was opened up, a murky, decrepit mirror reflection of the primary world, and home to a monster named Ganon that was pulling the puppet strings across space, time, and dimension. Little did I know at the time that his evil was the crux of the whole franchise to this day. So I quested, I slew, I collected. And by the game's end, when I stood atop the corpse of Ganon, his empire crumbled. Never mind, the game's secrets and hints guide I'd been following the whole way in order to get all the bits and pieces I actually needed to achieve this feat. And the sacred triangles known as the Triforce were reunited. I felt the thrill of victory like none other. A hit of digital smack from my young brain that then decided I needed more of it. This was my game. This was my proper introduction to The Legend of Zelda. I could see now what all the hoopla was about. I designed my own quests based on it, made art because of it. A Link to the Past started me in my own series of quests to create, to think differently about the types of games I was ready to consume. While larger than its 8-bit beginnings, A Link to the Past is still much smaller in scope than games of the franchise would become afterward. Much simpler in execution and story than other similar games, especially in the fullness of time. But this version of Hyrule, my Hyrule, would always be there. Whenever the growing complexity of the real world was becoming too much, and with it my realization that there was little I could do to affect change or alter outcomes, I could at least boot up the game, strap on a sword and shield, and go forth on a simple quest to help out my friends once again, throw down the oppressive evil who felt no remorse and would never need to be anything more than a simple, cartoonish, mustache-twirling villain. There is a great comfort in that, at least for a little while. The simple tales of heroism, labor, and self-sacrifice have been told again and again by skalds and sages throughout the ages to bolster courage and spirits when they flag. When the gray areas grow too much out of their bounds and cut deeply. A sprite named Link was my hero too. Thank you for listening.